So here's a question for you. Can an AI really understand something like physics? I don't just mean spitting out formulas. I mean, can it actually reason its way through one of the toughest high school exams in the entire world? Well, today, we're going to find out.
And look, this isn't some sci-fi movie plot. It's real. A brand new study just pitted the world's top AI models against a super tough opponent. And honestly, the results, they might just flip everything we think we know about intelligence on its head.
All right, so how do you really test if an AI can think like a scientist? You don't just give it a multiple choice quiz, right? No, you throw something way harder at it. In this case, they use the Israeli Physics Matriculation Exam, a test that is legendary for being incredibly difficult.
And this part is so important. The reason they picked this specific exam is because you can't just brute force it by crunching numbers. To pass, you need a deep, almost intuitive feel for physics concepts. You have to be able to look at a complex, multi-step problem and build a logical strategy to solve it. It's a true test of reasoning, not just memorizing facts. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of the experiment. How exactly did they set up this intellectual showdown between the two biggest AI brains out there?
So, in one corner, we've got ChatGPT 4.0, the latest and greatest powerhouse from OpenAI. And in the other corner, we have Claude 3.5 Sonnet from Anthropic, which is famous for its seriously sophisticated reasoning skills. The setup was actually pretty simple, but super rigorous. The researchers grabbed real exam questions from the last 3 years, 2022 to 2024. They fed those exact questions to both AIs. And then, and this is the important part, they graded the AI's answers using the exact same official rules that human students are graded with. No hints, no special treatment. A totally level playing field.
All right, the stage is set, the test is done. So what was on the report card? How did our AI students actually do? Well, the results are pretty mind-blowing, especially when you look at how fast they improved.
Okay, let's rewind to the 2022 exam. Claude 3.5 Sonnets actually did really well, pulling in a 4.6 out of 5. Super solid. But ChatGPT 4.0, oof. It had a rough time, scoring just 2.8 on average. It really struggled, and you could see its biggest weakness wasn't coming up with a strategy.
Okay, now let's jump forward just 2 years to the 2024 exam. And wow, just look at this. Both models are now scoring a nearly perfect 4.8 out of 5. But the really wild part of this story is ChatGPT's journey. It went from basically failing to being at the absolute top of the class in just 2 years. That incredible jump is what this is all about. And this table here, this shows us exactly how it happened. Zero in on that problem-solving strategy score. Back in 2022, ChatGPT got a 1 out of 5. A 1. It knew the facts, but it had no idea how to actually solve the problem. Fast forward to 2024, and it's a perfect 5. This is so key. It didn't just get better at math, it literally got better at thinking. So a jump like that makes you step back and ask a much bigger question, right? What kind of intelligence are we even looking at here? Because it's clearly not just about getting the right answer anymore. It's about how it gets there. You see, from the get-go, both AIs were amazing with the raw stuff. Calculations, formulas, knowing definitions. Where they fell apart at first was connecting those dots. They couldn't plan out a multi-step attack on a tough problem. So that massive leap we just saw, that came from the AI learning that one critical skill: how to reason, how to plan, and how to see a solution through from start to finish. So this brings us to a really crucial idea for how to think about all this. Researchers have a name for it: cognitive offloading. And it sounds complicated, but it's something you do every single day. You offload remembering phone numbers to your contacts app, right? Or you offload a hard calculation to a calculator. Well, AI is quickly becoming the ultimate tool for that kind of cognitive offloading. And that's where things get really interesting, and maybe a little scary. If students can now just offload really complex problem solving to an AI, what on earth does that mean for our schools, for homework, for exams? And let's be clear, this isn't some problem for the future. It's happening right now. Get this, a full 25%, 1 in 4, teenagers in the US have already used ChatGPT for school. The technology is already in the classroom, full stop, whether teachers are ready for it or not. It kind of feels like the whole era of just testing kids on whether they can find the right answer, well, that's pretty much over.
So what do we do?
Well, all of this points to a massive shift in how we need to approach learning. The focus has to move. It has to be on what are called higher-order thinking skills. Creativity, deep critical analysis, ethical reasoning. The stuff an AI just can't do. We have to start teaching students how to use AI as a super-powered assistant, like a co-pilot for their brain. And we have to completely rethink exams so they test real understanding, not just how good you are at typing a question into a chat box. And all of this really leaves us with one final, huge question. Forever, education has been about giving students the answers. But now we've built a tool that knows pretty much all of them. So maybe, just maybe, the whole point of education isn't about finding the right answer anymore. Maybe it's about learning how to ask the right question.